What's going on, guys? Today we're working on a 2015 Victory Cross Country, and I know Victory went out of business in 2017, but still got a lot of love for these bikes. Got a couple of them hiding here, got another Cross Country over there, 2012 Highball over here. But today we're putting a set of Lloydz cams in this bike. They're good for about an extra 18 or 20 horsepower. We're doing a Lloydz 5L5 cam. It's his mid-range cam. Power on those comes in at about 3,500 RPM. So the touring cam, he wanted us to put the touring cams in, but those coming out into like 4,500, which that's too high up in the power band. So this is a mid-grind cam, a 505. So those are going in, along with the Lloydz air intake and a Power Commander 5. So this is the bike before we tear it down, and we're gonna get going on this soon. Other than that, we got a lot of projects we're going to be working on, filming everything as we go. So we'll keep everybody posted. We got all the body panels off the bike. We took the tank off, side covers, bags obviously, and the seat. As you can see, this bike with like 20K has never had the air filter clean, but that's all right. We got the new one going in. So tank coming off is about the only thing that's actually any work. I disconnect the fuel line here. A couple breather lines here. But other than that, we got to get into the valve covers next. Overhead cams, one in each cylinder. So we'll keep going. Alright, so at this point we installed the Lloydz air cleaner. It was stage 1, stage 2 air cleaner. It gets rid of the lip here that makes the air box and cleanable filter. So this is a reusable Lloydz air filter. I don't know, I think it's good for like 5 horsepower, but regardless, it goes with the whole setup for the tune and the cams. So just these 3 bolts here that hold down, make tension here, make a gasket, and that's it. We had to lift the rear, actually the upper cross member of the frame. So this bike is made like a sport bike. It actually doesn't have a steel tubular frame. It's this cast aluminum backbone. So to get clearance on the rear valve cover here on the rear cylinder, we had separated these bolts from the rear engine mounts right here and here. And just this 1/4 inch is enough to give us enough height to get this rear valve cover off. And we just got a couple crappy screwdrivers holding it up for now. So the next step is gonna be getting these valve covers out to get to the overhead cams. At this point, we have both valve covers off. A little bit of work to get into these inner bolts here under the frame. Got to get them with an old school, just 90-degree right angle wrench. So the next thing is to find top dead center on each cam wheel here. You use a zip tie to pinch the timing chain to the wheel here so you don't lose your timing. Then you got the 4 bolts here. Take the entire cam carrier out. And actually before that, this bolt here comes out, and there's a little magnetic rod that sits in there that sets the cam. So that comes out, you pull the rod out, which will pull the cam out, we'll get to that. So we'll show you the next steps. At this point, we rotate everything at top dead center. Pulled the first cam wheel bolt out. I got the second one still in here. So what you're gonna wanna do is pin the timing wheel so that you do not rotate at all. You find a junk screwdriver or something, and just pin it in there somewhere. I think there's a hole to lock that in place. So you don't lose your timing, before you take that second bolt out, you zip tie the timing chain to each wheel so that you do not lose your position. It's a good idea to put like a rag or something here before you take this bolt out so that you do not lose that bolt, otherwise you'll be fishing the motor. So once this comes out, the wheel comes off, and the next step is pulling these 4 bolts here, and the entire cam carrier will come out.
And sometimes if it gets stuck, you want to tap it with a hammer. And if that doesn't work, use the bigger hammer.
All right, so this cam carrier in the rear cylinder will not come out. There's not enough clearance, so we're actually gonna change the cam in the carrier in the rear cylinder. We just have it lifted a bunch. Graham here has magnetized a regular screwdriver. There's a cap screw that comes out, and he's trying to fish out the little retaining pin that holds the cam in. So once that comes out, you have to be very careful not to drop it in the motor, or else you're in trouble. And once that pin comes out, the the cam will slide out the end. You see right here, he's trying to fish out the retaining pin. It's a little dowel, it's probably about 1 inch long. Fished out, that's the little retaining pin. You got a little bit of a trick there to pull that out with a magnet. We kind of just made a tool here. We stuck a bunch of magnets to a magnetic screwdriver, but it works. So now this cam is going to slide out right from the end here. And we have the new ones over here on the counter. The new Lloydz cams. Plenty of lube, all your assembly lube on there. We got one of these ready to go in. Alright, as you can see, working this cam out here. There you go. This bike's got about 20K on it. You can see a little bit of normal scoring there, but nothing damaging.
Nothing worse than a Ford.
This is true.
Yeah, that's good.
So Graham here is going to grab the new cam.
The assembly lube.
It's already all lubed.
Where's it?
Right to your left. Right in front of you.
Which one's which? More lube. Gotta wear gloves. This stuff can cause cancer in California.
Now front cylinder will be a little easier because the whole cam carrier will actually come out of the bike, but this rear we just don't have the clearance to get it out with the frame.
Cam in there.
You can see the dowel he took
Okay.
out. That dowel pin slides back in there. That retains the cam from moving left to right.
Like that.
And an Allen cap screw that holds that all in. And we're going to reference our printout for torque specs because it's somewhat important.
Good and tight. This happens on my bike. I have to worry about my bike blowing up.
Well, you do have to worry about your bike blowing up because it's early.
Listen, Junior. Performance bagger.
Alright, let's grab some torque specs. Alright, so at this point, tank's back on. Obviously both cams are in. We installed the Power Commander 5, dyno jet over here. He's got it mounted right on the side to hide under the side cover, so we can hook up the laptop. This bike's not going for a dyno tune yet. We're going to borrow a map from my bike because it's got a very similar setup. So Graham over here is going to upload a tune from one of my bikes, and we should be ready to fire this thing up in a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
Alright guys, we got this bike all finished up. We got the Lloydz cams installed, the Power Commander 5 and the air cleaner. Starts, runs good. Haven't got it out on the road yet. It's still pretty cold here. It's only like 40 today. But we're gonna get this bike out for a rip and see how she runs. If you guys like what you see, please like and subscribe, and we'll get a follow-up video and see how this bike runs. Thanks.